You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Oh yeah, Monday! Good morning, and welcome to The Scrimmage. I'm Daniel Hargrove.
And I'm Justin Domashevitz. I got Cookie Monster here with me. And also our trusty producer.
Cheers for cookie.
Our trusty producer, Andrew Gross. We got lots of great topics today. We're going to talk about basketball, what it might look like when it comes back, whether or not we're going to get baseball back, and, maybe we'll mix in a little bit of high school stuff as well.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll figure out a little bit about what the Seahawks, what the rest of their offseason could look like, and some moves they might make before training camp, which really coming right up. But first, let's get it going with a 2-minute drill, which is brought to you by State Farm agent Mark Rossetti.
It's not just a home or a car, it's the 6 months you save to get your Ultra HD flat screen just in time for football season. It's the overtime you worked for that third car so that your team can drive themselves to practice. While other insurance companies just see them as a bundle or a combo, State Farm agent Mark Rossetti sees your home and car as things you work really hard for. Mark understands what your things really mean to you and is here to help you give them the protection they deserve. Visit Mark Rossetti at 613 Oak Street in Aberdeen for your home and auto insurance today.
Let's go, huddle up. Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to the ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
There has been a lot of discussion about whether or not pro sports leagues will Whoa, I can read. Justin's question got me. Will put fake crowd noise in arenas and or in broadcasts when sports resume, hopefully in July. Justin, do you like the idea of fake crowd noise in the broadcast?
What I like is how when you stumble over reading English language, it's my fault somehow.
Well, you mentioned before how you tried to make my questions really long, hoping I would stumble.
Don't take facts in my words and turn them against me. On the fake crowd noise, I do not want it. In the immortal words of Oscar from The Office, it's pandering and it makes me think you think I'm stupid. I also think there's a tiny part of it that it's like, I know it's entertainment, but it's not really journalistically sound to put fake noises in a broadcast. Like, 50 years down the road, people are going to watch it and think that there were fans there. I know it's kind of a stupid little thing, but it's kind of a journalistic principle that you try to record the games as accurately as possible. I suppose if, the broadcasters made a point to say, hey, what do you think of this fake crowd noise a couple times, it might be okay, but as a general practice, I just don't really like it. Some of the higher-seeded teams in the NBA have reportedly proposed that the home team during playoff games should get some kind of advantage. The proposed advantages include getting possession to start the second, third, and fourth quarter, designating a player to be allowed an extra foul, getting an extra coach's challenge, and having first choice of Disney World hotels. Daniel, do you think the NBA needs to do anything to give the higher seed an advantage during a playoff game?
I think that the only advantage I saw there that I would be okay with is first choice of hotels. Anything that actually affects the gameplay seems ridiculous because whether you're playing in Portland or you're playing in LA, you don't have different rules because you're playing at a different gym. Like, having the ball to start each quarter after the opening tip doesn't make sense. Letting one player get to hack more seems silly. And having an extra coach's challenge could be a massive advantage in a game. So, yeah, you get the first choice of what hotel you want to stay in because you like that hot tub better than the other one. That'll do.
Hot tub.
Major League Baseball Players Association Chief Negotiator Bruce Meyer sent a letter to Deputy MLB Commissioner Dan Halem on Friday stating that the league is depriving America of baseball games. Negotiations between the league and the Players Union seem to be at an impasse Justin, are the owners the bad guys here?
At the moment, I think both sides are trying to make the other side look like bad guys in the public eye. How about this? How about we stop worrying about the public eye and everyone just sit in a room and figure this crap out? Because it's way too many leaks and it's incredibly frustrating to watch it from the outside, wondering when we're going to get baseball, and it seems like it's never going to come because there's way too many hard-headed individuals that are more worried about what the public thinks about their side than about actually getting baseball back out on the field. Despite the turmoil, Trevor Bauer has said he's 95 to 100% certain there will be baseball. Daniel, do you believe him?
You know, I think I do because, and if you don't know who Trevor Bauer is, he is a pitcher currently for the Cincinnati Reds, used to be for the Cleveland Indians, and a fascinating guy to listen to talk about any subject, where about baseball or these negotiations. And he says that every player he's talked to has said, we want to play as soon as possible. I hope that the pressure from the members of the union, those baseball players, can talk to the people doing the negotiations and be like, hey, we need to get this done. That's all we care about. That's the first and foremost thing that we care about, is getting back on the field, entertaining the fans, and finding some way to make a paycheck here. And that's what I think will be the driving force to finally get this figured out. What do you think about that basketball discussion?
Well,
you think teams should be able to get extra advantage in the game?
am interested. I'm intrigued by the possibility of what they would come up with.
Yeah.
But in the end, I don't think there's anything you can do that would really emulate the actual home court. And home court advantage in the NBA is a real thing. Like, it really is an advantage. And it kind of stinks for the top teams that they won't have that anymore. But I don't think any of those options were good. The other option I heard that I didn't include in the question because the question was already really long was that they could import the actual wood panel home courts from their arenas and have them installed in the complex at Disney.
Interesting.
And that was something that was actually discussed. In the end, what I heard,
the paneling that makes the difference? I always figure
no idea.
I always figured the background of what you're shooting into.
For shooters, yeah, big time.
That makes more of a difference. Like,
Yeah.
you're used to seeing that behind the basket from whatever spot you're shooting from.
Right. Well, Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN, who was the guy who sort of broke this 22-team story, he said, aside from a few of the main title contenders, there wasn't much of an appetite to really discuss what the home court advantages could be. But I did think it would be fun that let's try to help them out. Let's kind of try to come up with some of our own. So what if you could designate one player on the visiting team that has to play in flip-flops?
Or, let's see, one player on the home team gets to goaltend 5 times a game.
There you go, 5 times a game. I dig that.
Basically, they just save that for the end of the game, though.
I talked about this with Peyton, my son, earlier, and he suggested, what if 2 players from the lower seeded team have to have their shoes tied together? So it's like a 3-legged race the whole game. So if you could imagine Dame and CJ just 3-legged race the whole game together, they might actually be okay. I mean, those two work pretty well together.
That's true. They'd be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
They'd use one as a screener, like, every time.
Right.
Or maybe one player gets to play like it's 1990
and
if
just
you're on the home team and just clobber
people and not get called.
Yeah.
Another possibility I was thinking is, like, maybe the lower seeded team has to wear really dark sunglasses so that it takes your eyes a really long time to adjust to the inside.
That makes sense.
Like,
just like you're adjusting to a building.
Right.
Yeah.
I had said that when I was talking to Peyton earlier, I said, well, what if like you're playing against the Blazers and you say, okay, Dame is on the lower seeded team. He has to play with no shoes. He has to play in his socks. But then we thought, could there really be a travel if you could slide? Like a risky business Tom Cruise. Like, you start at the 3-point line, you dribble in, and you just slide all the way underneath the basket.
Did you say Todd Cruise?
I did, but I corrected myself. What I meant was Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Or you could have just lasers on the side of the court that were, like, just bouncing all over the place that the visiting team's trying to shoot at.
Right.
Just to have lasers flying all over the place. You pull it for a jumper, and all of a sudden you got a laser in the eye. Like, ah!
Right. I think all those are legitimate. Could definitely be put in there. When I went
what
to
if you raised the hoop for one team?
Oh,
That's
there you go.
yes, that could be. Yeah, I mean Giannis could still dunk, but most of the other guys wouldn't be able to. I remember when I went to a Blazers Bucks game with my kids that they were like, we were all just talking about, man, it's really not fair how much bigger and stronger and faster and better Giannis is than everyone else.
Yeah.
And we were coming up with some of these things like, what could you do to Giannis to make him more? And my 10-year-old had suggested maybe you cut off his head. I think that's a little extreme. So you probably can't cut off the head of one of the players of the lower seeded team, but there's lots of possibilities. Flip-flops, socks, sunglasses, lasers. We got all this figured out. NBA, if you need help.
Ankle weights.
Oh, that's a good one.
There we go.
Because that would be just a slight disadvantage.
Yeah.
But it would wear on you, I think, throughout the game. And you wouldn't be able to pivot and move quickly quite as well.
No. And your explosiveness jumping would be hampered very
sure.
well.
Well, I mean, mine might not be because I don't jump that high anyway. But NBA players.
Yeah.
So NBA, if you need help coming up with good home court advantages for these neutral court games, just come talk to the guys at the scrimmage. We got 100 ideas for you.
Exactly. And if we can't figure it out, Justin's kids can.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Just don't ask Mac.
Yeah, he might get a little too over the top there.